BKFL Week 2. Sorry the video took so long, but you know how things go. Busy here in Southern California, working wrestling and day job and all that stuff. So anyway, you came here for football news, so let's give you some football news. BKFL Week 2 was kind of interesting. Of course, we all watched the Niners put up a great fight against the Saints. Of course, we shot ourselves in the foot. Alex Smith showing promise, like he can actually throw the freaking ball. And Frank Gore doing well. Crabtree getting a highlight. Niners really coming together. So let's go ahead and believe in the Niners, man. This is the best 0-2 we've ever been. Let's go ahead and get to, let's see. Let's talk about Week 1 was pretty tight. Week 2 had a little bit of discrepancies and a very close battle. We're going to start off with Team Lucha Libre, which is my team, versus Jason Boss, and that would be the Marine. And of course, he will be Marine, and he is going into the Marines, and we're all going to support him going into the Marines because, after all, you signed the contract, buddy. You got to live up to it. You're an NFL player. You know, as far as fantasy goes, you're an owner. You know what's going on. So let's go ahead and talk it out. We start with Lucha Libre. Matt Ryan, for the quarterback for Atlanta, doing a phenomenal job, put up 60 points, and it was a great job because Carson Palmer really didn't do anything for me. Michael Turner got 80-something yards on 7 carries and then pulled a groin, and his backup got like 150 yards and almost 100 yards receiving and a touchdown on each side. It was, it was absolutely, you know what, I'm going to go put this out. It was really a heartbreak. You know, I was really upset about it, but, you know, you move on. Pierre Thomas, of course, ran against San Francisco, and he got shut down. He only added 18 points, but he really didn't do that much, you know. Roddy White, receiver for, Atlanta, putting up 20 points, and he is solid, and he's doing very well. Chad Ochocinco put up 8 points, not a big week for him. Of course, he was going against the Ravens. Wes Welker showing up, 15 points. Chris Cooley, tight end from Washington, 15 points. Mason Crosby, kicker, and doing very well. But the defense for New Orleans, getting that safety, which is 25 points. That's a big one. Second safety this year, and it's going to be very interesting to see what's going on. They put up 45 points. I'm very happy with that. Total of 201. On the bench, I did leave Carson Palmer, who didn't do much. Basically, everybody on my bench sucked, so I put in the right guys. Moving over to the Marine, Peyton Manning, 63 points. Manning always does what Manning does. Ray Rice, 15 points, solid running back. Jason really believes in him, so let's hope he scores for Jason. Ahmad Bradshaw, 8 points. Anquan Bolden, receiver, 8 points. Greg Jennings, 6 points. Hines Ward, 1 point. So Jason's receivers really didn't get it done this week, and that's what really cost him. Vasante Shanico, of course, Minnesota, but a very highly rated tight end, put in 14 points. Good job, Vasante. And kicker threw in 8 points. Defense, 2 points for the Patriots defense. Not very good for their defense. Let's see. On the bench, D'Angelo Williams, 10 points. Not much. Brett Favre, who is no longer on the Marines. Oh my God, Jason has dropped Brett Favre. This is like huge news. Let's see, Marion Barber didn't do anything. Percy Harvin didn't do anything. Vikings defense got 16. Maybe you want to put in the Vikings defense this week, which I believe you already do. Let's move on. Second team is Hawaii 5-0 and Suzanne versus Let's Rock and Roll. Of course, the last matchup was 201 to 129. Lucha over the Marine. Let's start with Hawaii 5-0. Eli Manning, 31 points. Kind of disappointing. Chris Johnson, 8 points. Very disappointing. Joseph Adai, 13. Good job. Calvin Johnson, 17. And he didn't get screwed this week. Marquez Colston, 11 points. Could have done better. Hakeem Nicks, 11 points, but he had a big week in week 1, so you can't really, hold too much against him. Tonio Gates, 22 points. Absolutely phenomenal. Ryan Longwell, 4. And Carolina Panthers defense, get rid of them. So she ended up with, total points was 170, I believe. Am I right? Was I right? No, she ended up with 121 points, which is kind of a low week, but it's week 2. We'll see what happens. On the bench, she left Phillip Rivers, who did score more than Manning, so Rivers might be a good start this week. 76 points for Donovan McNabb, and when you carry 3 quarterbacks, it's always going to be a crapshoot. Santana Moss, 18 points, and I believe they're going against the Rams this week, so you might want to start Santana Moss. Nate Kading, 8 points, and Niners defense, 2. You might want to get rid of them. The defense doesn't look like they're going to do much until the offense catches up. Bench points was 145, and total points for Hawaii Five-0 was 121, so a couple changes need to be made. Let's rock and roll is, of course, Michael Christopher, and let's check him out. Tom Brady, 42 points, very good. Maurice Jones-Drew is a letdown, but he's injured. You need to pay attention to that. Adrian Peterson, 29 points. Well, it's AP, it's AD. He does what he does. 22 points for Reggie Wayne. Definitely a good start. Randy Moss, 11. Deshaun Jackson from the Eagles, 24 points. It's a very good week for a wide receiver. 10 points for Jason Witten for your tight end. Defense and kicker did what they're supposed to do. Jets actually did put up a few extra points. Let's see who he left on the bench. CJ Spiller, 6. Noshawn Moreno, 21 points. Keep an eye on him. Arian Foster, 16 points. Matt Schaub, quarterback for the Houston Texans, 99 points. And he was benched, so you don't get those points. And that has got to have you ripping your facial hair out instead of shaving. But that's how fantasy football goes. 8 points for Jamal Charles, and Beanie Wells did not play. All right, so the win goes to Let's Rock and Roll, 172 to 121 over Hawaii Five-0. And we head to the third team. All right, DJ's Best, that's Durkee versus the Flying Dutchman, which is Michaelis Pelikis. And I'll save the joke for later. Let's start out with DJ's Best. Drew Brees, 67 points. Good showing by Drew. 17 points by a Raider. That must have been their entire offense. Frank Gore, 35 points, absolutely went off on Monday night. Receiving, running, and he would have had another touchdown had he not got tired. But when you run the ball 800 times in a quarter, you're going to get tired. Hickson really did a good job. And looking for Brian Westbrook. Haven't seen him on the Niners yet. Steve Smith, 15 points. Larry Fitzgerald, 15 points. Crabtree only had 4, but he's showing promise. You might want to stick with him. Vernon Davis, 13 points. Very good for Vernon. 2 points for Nedney and 11 points for the Eagles defense. Kind of low, but you take what you can get. On the bench, you left Flacco with 15. Matt Forte starting to come up. He had 17 points. And of course, Mike Sims Walker, wide receiver in Jacksonville, threw up 24 points. And this one's going to kill you. Philadelphia Eagles was his starter, was Dirk's starter, but the Pittsburgh Steelers ended up with 50 points. I believe it's 49 on the bench. So you might want to consider a Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and you got a total of 182 points, which is very important because Michael P. ended up with 181. That's right, a 1-point difference for the week was phenomenal. Let's go ahead and check out his stats. Aaron Rodgers, 64, good showing. Steven Jackson, good running back, 16 points. Rashard Mendenhall did not have the biggest week in the world, but he did throw up 8 points. Andre Johnson, 33, very good pickup. Steve Smith, 7 points, but he's Steve Smith, he'll blow up. Miles Austin, phenomenal pickup. I believe that was a waiver wire pickup, and he put in 24 points. 19 for Dallas Clark, 5 for David Akers, and 2 for the Ravens defense, which is very uncharacteristic of them. But maybe the bench would have put in a little bit more. Let's see, Tony Romo had 65 points, which is equal to Aaron Rodgers. So Javid Best, 50 points. And your running backs were Steven Jackson, Rashard Mendenhall for the Flying Dutchman. Had he put in Javid Best, he would have absolutely torched Dirk. But that's how fantasy football goes. 11 points for Brandon Marshall on the bench. 5 for Ryan Matthews. 9 for John Carlson, tight end for Seattle. And Forsett putting up 6. I still like Forsett. Give him a few more weeks, but he should do good. Like I said, a 1-point difference. And so it's very interesting to see how things are going. Next week we have a very big matchup. It's Michael Christopher versus me, Benjamin. It's Let's Rock and Roll versus Lucha Libre. It's the 2 undefeated teams, and there will be a winner, there will be a loser. Mike's got a really, really good chance because he's got a very favorable matchup this week. However, I've got all my Bengals in, and we're going to try and stomp out Carolina, which from what I understand is not doing that much. So I'm expecting a 5 or 6 touchdown week from the Bengals, and an absolute blowout of Let's Rock and Roll. Remember to stay on the waiver wire, use your player comparison tools. This is BKFL Week 2. Hope you guys are enjoying it, and I believe there is a family trip being planned in December to Washington, so let's make sure we all show up that before Jason heads off for the Marines. So, my name's K. Ross Covington. You know, I have lots of names. And we'll see you guys next time. BKFL Week 3. Good luck. Submit your lineups. If you have any questions, give me a call. Most importantly, stay in touch. I want everybody to call me. I'm your commissioner. Therefore, you must call me at least once a week. The whole reason for this league is not to win or lose. The whole reason is for us to stay in touch. Michael gave me a call last night. Suzanne and I have been talking constantly, and I'd like to hear from Dirk. Jason's been calling me constantly, and I'd like to hear from Michael P. Haven't heard anything from Michael P. Very interesting situation he's got going on, but I know he's putting up his lineup, and I know he's paying attention. So Michael P., if you're watching, ring-a-ding-ding, you got my number. So let me go back to this, and we're at 11 minutes. And that will do it. I hope you guys had a good week. I hope you guys have an even better week. This is the Boss Cone Fantasy Football League, and I hope you guys win. But I mostly hope you guys call me. So the winning thing is like here, but the calling me thing is like here. Okay? Don't you love these videos? And of course, I'll leave you with the profile.